Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports, and you know what? I was not gonna make a video today, but I heard something. So I decided to make a video. Why did I make a video? What the hell did I hear? Well, I'll tell you what the hell I heard. Sacramento Kings just backed out of the race to get Ben Simmons. Holy crap. So what does this tell me? Ben Simmons is staying in Philadelphia past February 10th trade deadline.
Welcome back to NBA Today. So it wouldn't be a show without a Ben Simmons update. And earlier today, our senior insider Adrian Wojnarowski reported that the Sacramento Kings are now out of the Simmons sweepstakes. So Woj is joining us now. Adrian, what does Sacramento being out of the mix mean for Simmons' future with the Sixers?
Well, Malika, Sacramento was the team that between now and the trade deadline, there might have been, and it wouldn't have been easy given the Sixers' asking price, but it might have been the one team where there could have been a one-to-one trade where they wouldn't have needed multiple teams to do a deal. But the asking price for Sacramento is too high. And now we're within 2 weeks of the trade deadline. And Sacramento's been telling teams yesterday, today, we are engaged with you on doing a deal. We are not pursuing Ben Simmons anymore. They don't believe that asking price is going to come down from Philly, or even if it does come down, that it would come down far enough for a deal that made sense for the Kings. And for Philadelphia now, I think they're still engaged with teams. I think they will be engaged until the deadline next February 10th. But listen, they're still looking at the offseason, and certainly we know the player that they would love to be able to get. That's James Harden. But it's not James Harden or bust for Philly. And I think what Philly hopes and what history shows you is more great players, more high-level players will become available in the offseason because teams will flame out in the playoffs. Players will be unhappy. Yeah. People will ask for trades, or teams will want to break up groups. And that will allow for, I think, a bigger pool of players for the Sixers to try to find a deal for Ben Simmons. But for now, Sacramento's out. That's a team that wants to reshape their roster. They want to do deals. You know, they have some desirable players and assets in Harrison Barnes and others in Sacramento, and they're going to look elsewhere now to try to do a deal or deals between now and the deadline.
Okay, so if the Kings join the list of teams who are out on Ben Simmons, then who's in on him?
Well, listen, I think there's no shortage of teams who would like Ben Simmons on their roster, but the list of teams who are willing to meet the Sixers' price or even really engage with the Sixers now is shorter. And I think, there are teams like, Atlanta, they have, certainly interest in him. There are a number of others. Minnesota has interest, but is there a pathway to a deal? And I think, that's the hard part for the Sixers right now is how far are they going to have to lower their asking price to get a deal done at the deadline? And for Philadelphia, listen, they have the support internally, ownership, even Joel Embiid, and understanding, and we've talked about this a lot, that if they do a deal that doesn't bring back a package that allows them to compete for a championship, it doesn't make any sense. Not with Ben Simmons signed for years forward, but we certainly understand the pressure because of the way Embiid's playing. This is a team, 10 games, 29-19, I think, as we speak today, just 2 games out of first place in the East. And I think there's always still going to be the hope that they get past the trade deadline and somehow they can convince Ben Simmons to return and play for this team. He has been adamant that that's not going to happen. I don't think it's an expectation that it's going to happen, but it is still a hope in Philly. But right now, listen, I think they need to be prepared that he's going to sit out the season, and he needs to be prepared for the fact that they may not find a trade for him until at least the summer.
Adrian Wojnarowski had big news today from Sacramento and Philadelphia. Woj, for those who haven't heard, catch everybody up.
Greeny, the Sacramento Kings are out on trade talks for Ben Simmons. And this had been a team that really had a great interest in Simmons, but ultimately just the Sixers' price is too steep for Sacramento, and they don't expect it to come down enough to think between now and February 10th that they could get to a deal. And so Sacramento is looking elsewhere. They want to make some moves on that roster. They want to reshape their team, and they've told teams today and yesterday that we want to engage with you. We are not doing a trade for Ben Simmons, and so that leaves Philadelphia now, still talking to teams, but losing out of, the marketplace, a team in Sacramento that had enough assets and had enough players and potential draft picks that interested Philly enough that they could have done a deal one-on-one with them, but Sac is moving on, and certainly increasingly looks like, the market for Ben Simmons is shrinking among interested teams now, and Daryl Morey may very well, take these Ben Simmons talks into the offseason if he can't get a deal elsewhere before the trade deadline on the 10th.
That's right, because that, to your point, the other thing that's shrinking is the calendar. It's 2 weeks from yesterday. Woj, we'll see you on Countdown coming up in about 20 minutes. Meanwhile, Stephen A., you hear this, and obviously the Sixers, this has been a story that goes back even before the season began. What is your reaction?
I would like all three of y'all to just back up a little bit for a second. Let me look into this camera.
I want to move away from the steam.
Let me look into this camera right here. This is where the steam is coming from. First of all, let's get a couple of things out of the way. The market is shrinking for Ben Simmons because people believe he's full of it. Let's be clear. We're not diminishing the importance of mental health. We get all of that. Nobody believes that's the case with Ben Simmons at this point. We think he's full of it. He couldn't take criticism from the crowd in Philadelphia. He couldn't take some question marks from Doc Rivers, and everybody thinks he's been blowing smoke. And the fact that from what my sources tell me, he's pursuing matters to make sure he gets paid his entire salary for this season, even though he's not playing. Evidently, whatever mental health issues that you're dealing with ain't preventing you from going for your money. That's number one. Number two, Daryl Morey, do your job, bro. Do your job. You're somebody that's known for pulling the trigger. I'm sorry, no disrespect, because I think Daryl Morey should be a president of basketball operations for 90% of the teams in this league. But Philadelphia wasn't one of them because they didn't need Daryl Morey, because you had Elton Brand there who had cultivated a relationship with numerous players, was doing the job. Daryl Morey wasn't needed. Number three, that brings me to Philadelphia ownership. Josh Harris and the crew. You are in utter disgrace right now. I'm not talking about whatever you did before. I'm not talking about what you're going to do tomorrow. This is Stephen A. I worked in Philly for 17 years. I watched this man come to Philadelphia, and in 2013, you hire some dude named Sam Hinkie and going to announce to the city of Philadelphia, we're going to lose on purpose. For 5 years, we got a process plan in place. It involved Joel Embiid. It involved Ben Simmons. Did it involve trading away your assets to get Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler? Did it involve you losing out on Jimmy Butler to Miami? Did it involve Ben Simmons all of a sudden going AWOL on the team? And by the way, did it involve Daryl Morey being handcuffed by ownership? Because there's no way in hell anybody who knows that Daryl Morey would look at him and say, excuse me, he ain't doing anything. Daryl Morey would pull a trigger on anything because he can't stand shooters. So why? He can't stand guys that can't shoot. So why would he like Ben Simmons? Please. This is Josh Harris holding on, telling Daryl Morey, go there and hold on to Ben Simmons for dear life, or make sure you get this. I'm sorry. It's a disaster, and it reeks from the top down. Josh Harris, the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, clean up your damn act. It's an embarrassment, and you are wasting away the greatness of Joel Embiid because he deserves better. Y'all go ahead.
Embiid having an MVP caliber season. That is, Michael Wilbon, follow that.
It's just a joke they can't trade him.
Yeah.
They can trade him. Do they know how to get from Philly to Washington? I know. The Acela. Just get on a train and go make a deal involving Bradley Beal. A guy can play with Joel Embiid, a frontline player.
I want to make some different points to expand on what you said. First off, Ben Simmons' poor performance in the playoffs against a Hawks team that was short Trae Young, that hurt his value.
Oh, yeah.
Because then he went from being first-team all-defense in the eyes of the league to being a liability. And then when you don't go to camp, then your value diminished further and they can't move you. So on both sides.
So here's the thing, okay? You have to take a look at this. Sacramento Kings are the most desperate team in the NBA today. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they have not made the playoffs in 15 freaking years. And for them to pass up on Ben Simmons, because Daryl Morey's asking price is freaking insane. They backed out. So I know Daryl Morey wants the farm and the hotel and whatnot kind of thing, but at the end of the day, you're just doing a disservice to your team. Like, I know people are saying, oh, wait it out, wait it out. Wait out what? You have a great shot to actually make the finals. You know what I'm saying? Because Joel Embiid is playing out of his mind right now, and you got to get this guy some help. But it's just like there was a deal on the table, and Daryl Morey just upped the price, and all of a sudden Sacramento Kings backed out. So now what does that say? The amount of teams that are left willing to negotiate with Daryl Morey and Philadelphia is getting thinner and thinner by the minute. So Sacramento, most desperate team in the NBA, just backed out. So who else is there? There's Atlanta. They backed out because Daryl Morey wanted to send Tobias Harris there, but Atlanta didn't want him. So it just, at the end of the day, it's kind of like Daryl Morey is thinking that he's doing a good thing, but it's gonna come to bite him in the ass past February 10th. And why is it gonna do that? Because everybody and their dog knows that they're going after Harden. Now there's a bunch of tampering going on between Philadelphia 76ers and James Harden. That's pure evidence, as per Chris Haynes. Chris Haynes announced it, saying that if James Harden goes to Philadelphia in free agency, there are a lot of teams going to be going up to Adam Silver saying there's a lot of tampering going on, kind of thing, blah blah blah. So there's going to be an investigation and whatnot. I'm telling you guys, it's going to happen. So what also is going to happen is the fact that Daryl Morey needs to dump Ben Simmons' contract if he wants James Harden. Because if you think James Harden is going to come to Philadelphia and they're going to keep Ben Simmons on the deal, good luck, right? Because their luxury tax is going to be insane. So what's going to happen is you're most likely going to have to do a sign and trade with Brooklyn. But that just seems so stupid, because why would you trade him to your rival, like your conference rival? That doesn't make any sense. That's why this deal with Sacramento was so beneficial for both teams, because A, you're sending Ben to freaking Sacramento, and you're not going to see them in the playoffs anytime soon. Who knows? You never know. I've seen stranger things. But it's also in the opposite conference, so you're not going to see him that many times. You're going to see him one time in Philadelphia. If you do a sign and trade with Brooklyn, you're going to see him about twice in Philadelphia, twice in Brooklyn. So I know Daryl Morey thinks he's doing the right thing by holding out, kind of thing, but your price is just so freaking insane. It's unbelievable. So the bottom line is Ben Simmons is staying past this February 10th trade deadline. And for that to actually take place, like Ben Simmons' deal, there has to be a team willing to do a deal before February 10th. That is not going to happen. Like I just kept reiterating, Sacramento Kings just backed out, and who knows? You know what I mean? Like, I can't see another team willing to take on Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris. This doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Holding Ben Simmons out. I know you want to prove a point, but what's more important to the city of Philadelphia? Bringing home a championship while you have a healthy Joel Embiid, while he's playing out of his mind, while they're in the top 6, of the Eastern Conference, or holding out for Ben Simmons and trying to get a massive, crazy deal in the off season or right before. But I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed in Daryl Simmons or Daryl Morey a little bit, because you had a deal on the table with Sacramento, then you up the price, and now you are left back to square one. But I really feel bad for Joel Embiid, because he has no partner in crime anymore. He's doing this all by himself. Kudos to Joel Embiid. Hopefully he does go far in the playoffs. But for all the Sixers fans out there, and for all the people like me that want to see the Sixers succeed, want to see the Sixers actually win the championship, I hope to God Joel Embiid can lead the pack, because you're gonna have to do it without Ben Simmons. You know what I mean? Like that ship has sailed. At the end of the day, you had a deal. You could have had Buddy Hield, you could have had Halliburton, you could have had Fox, a couple other picks, but at the end of the day, it's not going to get done. So I know it's like 2 weeks out of the trade deadline, but I'm telling you now, if Sacramento Kings backed out, it's over. Ben Simmons trade, whatever, is not going to happen. Unless some other team comes out in the 11th hour and does something, but I don't see this going down anytime soon. So you might have Ben Simmons on your roster for the foreseeable future. It is what it is. Sorry, Sixers fans. Ben Simmons is staying put. Jag from Jaggy Sports.